Today for our daily cancellation, I will be canceling drivers. All drivers in America, except for me. I'm the only driver who is not canceled because I'm the only good one. All other drivers are canceled. You are all no longer allowed on the roadways. So I expect smooth sailing for myself on the highways from here on out as the only person in the country who knows how to drive. Now, I have long suspected that I am the only good driver. I've known it from before I even had a license. My dad took me out to give me driving lessons when I was 16. By the end of the first drive, I was giving him the lessons. That's not entirely true, I guess. I think after my first lesson, he was yelling at me that if I don't learn to stop at stop signs, I'm going to hit someone and kill them, and he's not going to bail me out of jail. But anyway, the point is, very quickly over time, I became the only good driver. Now, it's well known that every man believes that he is the only good driver. My dad believed it about himself, and his dad about himself. And you, if you're a man listening, probably think it about yourself, but it's not you, I assure you, it is me, which is an honor and a point of pride, but also a burden, because I have to constantly deal with the awful driving of everybody else. This has especially been the case over the last 2 weeks when I've done a significant amount of long distance driving, hither and yon, here, there and back and everything else. And I'll be continuing that, by the way. I'm driving up to Grove City for my speech after the show today. Grove City College on Thursday. I'll be speaking for YAF there. So make sure you come and tune into that. But my recent driving has only affirmed and confirmed that everyone is bad at driving except for me. Now, let's go through a list of the types of drivers who are especially canceled. You'll certainly find yourself on this list somewhere. There are the obvious villains, the drivers who drive too slow in the passing lane or pass in the right lane, the drivers who don't use their turn signals, the drivers who turn their turn signals on far too early or far too late, drivers who drive under the speed limit on one-lane roads and let the cars pile up behind them, going on like that for miles, while the people in the cars trailing behind stew with rage and begin engaging in violent and unspeakable fantasies, drivers who take too long to start driving again when the light turns green, and also drivers who start honking immediately when the light turns green and don't even give you a damn second to move your foot from the brake to the gas pedal. Drivers who speed like psychopaths in residential neighborhoods. Drivers who use their high beams when there are other cars directly in front of them or driving past them in the opposite lane. Drivers who slam on their brakes when they see a cop in a speed trap, nearly causing a 15-car pileup and also calling attention to the fact that they were just speeding. Okay, the cops aren't dumb, they're going to see that. Dozens of other examples, but here are the three main terrorists of the roadways that deserve specific and special condemnation. Number one, drivers who don't know how to merge properly. I've always said that merging should be on the driver's exam. Maybe it is now, I don't know. When I went through it, it wasn't. Instead, you practice making three-point turns and doing a couple other things. And then the final test, the final boss of the driver's exam, when I was doing it, was a parallel parking. Parallel parking, a skill that, as expected, I excel at, but that most people can go their whole lives avoiding if they really want to. Merging, on the other hand, you can't avoid. If you do it wrong, as many people do, you'll get someone killed. Now, you'll notice in a merging situation, as you are merging onto the highway, there is most of the time a sign that says yield. And very often there is a thing called a merge lane. This is an area for you to drive on as you merge. But most people experience some kind of selective blindness and act as though the yield and merge lane don't exist. What they'll do is, in rarer cases, just dart right into traffic, charging in, as if the other cars on the highway are made of pixie dust, so there's no need to worry about collisions. More commonly, though, drivers will treat the yield like a stop sign, and the merge lane like it will collapse into a sinkhole if they drive on it too far. So they'll come to a screeching halt in the merge lane and wait for an opening in traffic and then enter the highway going about 14 miles an hour, oftentimes causing whole busloads of orphans and puppies to veer around them and go careening off the highway and over a cliff. It happens all the time. Now, it's like they take that entrance ramp, and as soon as they see the highway, they panic. And they just stop still, and they start shouting, "What do I do? What do I do? Help! Help! What do I do?" You drive is what you do, okay? What you're supposed to do is continue driving along the merge lane, speeding up to match the speed of traffic, yielding to oncoming traffic, and entering the highway as soon as space opens up and allows it. It's very simple. You go with the speed of traffic. Number two, parking lots. Many drivers will cause unneeded congestion and chaos in our nation's parking lots by insisting on driving around until they find a spot that's as close as possible to the entrance of whatever Walmart they're trying to access. These are the kinds of people who, when you're in a spot and you're getting back to your spot with your groceries, they'll be sitting there with their blinker on, impatiently waiting for you to pull away, putting undue pressure on you to unload your groceries and buckle your kids up and leave. Meanwhile, there's a spot literally 14 feet away that's open and available. They would rather wait for 14 minutes in order to save themselves the 14 feet. This is the incorrect strategy. The correct thing to do is when you're in a parking lot, pull into the first open spot you see, no matter how far it is from the building. When we go to football games in the city, for example, as a family, back when that was still legal, I'll just take the first spot I find as soon as we get into the city, even if it's 27 blocks from the stadium. By the time we walk there, it's halfway through the third quarter. But you know what? I am not contributing to parking lot congestion, unlike the rest of you heathens. 3, finally, this is a big one, stop signs. Most people know, I hope, that at a 4-way stop, whatever car arrives first has the right of way. If 2 cars arrive at the same time, then the car to the right has the right of way. These are the rules. The problem happens when there's confusion or uncertainty about who arrived first. And at this point, in most 4-way stop situations, everyone is frozen in panic and fear. Nobody knows what to do. Someone in one of the cars must lead, must take charge of the situation. Now, me being the only good driver, I, of course, always assume this leadership role. I say to the other drivers, do not fear, do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will show you the way. And at this point, I will magnanimously wave the other driver on. I'll, just like this, with generosity and kindness in my eyes, I will say, go, my child, be free, go. But then what always happens? The other driver will start waving to me. And they'll say, oh no, I couldn't accept this gift. You go, my liege, please, I beg of you. So I say, okay, I accept your terms. And I start to go. But then right at that moment when I'm going, the other car says, never mind, I think I want to go. And they start going. And then I stop and say, okay, then you go. And they say, no, seriously, you go, never mind. And I say, fine, I'm going. And right as I start to drive, they say, actually, I think I'd kind of like to go. And they start driving. And this game of stop and start goes on sometimes for hours, days. This could all be avoided if you would just go from the first moment I wave you on. This is the rule of good driving. If you get waved on, just go. Just go. You got the wave. Go. Go, you idiot. I don't care if I'm waving you into a volcano. You get the wave, you go. Never defy the wave. The very order and stability of our society depends on the power of the wave when you're driving. So go. And don't forget to give the thank you wave in return, you ungrateful bastard. Most people struggle with most of these points. Everyone but me struggles with at least some of them. You might argue that I clearly do struggle with immense amounts of road rage and am not psychologically fit to be driving the streets, or indeed to be in human society at all. That may or may not be the case. But this isn't about me. Stop changing the subject. This is about you, and you, as a driver, are canceled. So if you're driving right now while you're listening to this, just pull over, get out of your car, leave the car there, walk home. That's your only choice. All right, good. Glad we could establish all that. That was very loud when I did that. Okay, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. Godspeed. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends.